Hi guys, welcome to your 5th and final day of my 5-day yoga challenge. In today's practice, we're going to be focusing on standing postures. But before we do that, we're going to be warming up the body a little bit. So starting off by stacking the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips, we're going to move through some cat-cows. So as we inhale, we're going to lift up with the chest, taking the gaze forward. And exhale, dome in the top of the back, gaze to the belly button. Taking 3 or 4 more of these in your own breath, but feel free to make any variations which feel good. Sometimes rocking with the hips or taking the shoulders a little bit over the wrist can feel good too. And maybe closing the eyes for your final breath. Simply tuning into the body, seeing what your body needs today. Gently moving the body through to a neutral spine. We're going to be placing the left hand onto the center of the mat so we can lift up with the gaze and the right fingertips, taking the gaze up towards the ceiling. Inhaling here, gently twisting with the chest, taking the gaze up. Exhale, threading the needles. We're going to take that right shoulder to the ground and maybe crawl forward with the left fingertips if we've got space. And then if all that's fine, taking the gaze out to that right hand. Maybe drawing the left armpit towards the mat, but keeping the hips steady and square. Taking one more long deep breath here. Gently moving the body, unraveling with the fingertips, taking those right fingertips back up to the ceiling again for a final stretch before planting the hand onto the ground alongside the left. Moving on to the opposite side, taking the right hand towards the center of the mat, lifting up with the left fingertips this time, taking the gaze up to the ceiling, stretching into the side of the body. Exhale, threading that left shoulder to the ground. Maybe crawling forward with the right fingertips and taking the gaze out to that left hand. Try to keep the hips square to the front of the mat. Belly button slightly engaged. For one more long round of breath here. Moving the body back through to center. Tucking under with the toes, lifting up with the hips, downward facing dog. Just a few breaths here today to begin. Pedaling out the feet one by one. Anything else which feels good. Before we move into our standing sequences. On your next inhale, we're going to be lifting up with the right heel, 3-legged dog. Doesn't need to be too intense, the foot doesn't need to go too high. And then we're going to slowly draw that knee forward, maybe it comes towards the nose, so that we can plant the foot between the hands. Lifting up into a high lunge, bending into the front knee. Inhale to straighten with the front leg. Exhale to bend, taking the shoulders away from the ears. Inhaling, straightening with the front leg. Exhale to bend. And then turning the back foot 90 degrees, arms onto either side, warrior 2. You might need to widen your stance a little bit. Checking in, you can see the big toe and then the arms staying relatively straight, a really hard thing to get into practice of doing. On your next inhale, straighten with the front leg. Exhale, bending a little bit deeper. And then when you're ready to, planting that right forearm onto the front leg, scooping forward with the left fingertips and taking the gaze up towards the top fingertips. Stretching here into the side of the body and opening with the chest towards the ceiling. Taking another round of breaths and seeing if you can twist with the chest a little bit further. Engage with the glutes here. Inhaling here once more. Exhale, gently unraveling, coming back through to your warrior 2. And then we're going to heel toe that back foot in slightly so that we can straighten into the front leg. We're setting up what we call a triangle pose. We're going to move the hips as far back in space as we can and then taking the front fingertips as far forward as they go so that we can gently take the back of the hand onto the inside of the leg. It might only come onto the inside of the thigh. So that we can imagine that we're between 2 panes of glass and we can reach up as far as we can with the top fingertips. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Inhaling, lifting, lengthening. Exhale to fold. On your next inhale, gently unraveling, taking the arms onto either side of the body, and then cartwheeling them around that front right foot. Taking the right foot back to meet the left, we're coming through a high plank, and then slowly lowering the knees to the ground. And we're coming through to what we call a half chaturanga, where we tuck the elbows into the sides of the body and see if we can drop the chin and the chest to the ground at the same time. Taking the gaze forwards, inhale, rippling forward, opening up with the chest, taking the palms of the hands off the ground, drawing the shoulder blades back. Exhale, planting the hands, tucking under with the toes, maybe rocking through all fours to come back to our downward facing dog. Or you might be able to get there with one big push. Rocking the hips maybe side to side, noticing the changes in the body. And on your next inhale, we're going to lift with the left heel, three-legged dog, squaring with the hips. So it doesn't matter that heel, if that heel doesn't come super high, it's completely fine where it is. Drawing that knee towards the nose, and when you've created this space, planting the foot between the hands, so that then we can lift up into our high lunge, fingertips rising. Inhale to straighten with the front leg. Exhale to bend, taking one more like this. Inhaling to straighten. Exhale to bend, coming into stillness as we open into that hip flexor. And then turning the back foot 90 degrees. Arms onto either side of the body, warrior two. Gaze over that front finger. Checking in, you can see the big toe poking out there. Keeping the arms level, shoulders away from the ears. And sucking the belly button towards the spine. Inhaling here once more. Exhale, planting that left arm onto the front leg, reaching over the right fingertips, and twisting the chest towards the ceiling. Finding that opening into the chest, opening possibly into this back hip. That's where I tend to feel it most intensely. And on your next exhale, gently unraveling back through to your warrior two. And then heel turning the back foot in slightly, especially if you've got long legs. Reaching the hips as far back as they'll go. The fingertips as far forward, setting up for our triangle. Back of the hand onto the inside of the leg. Reach up with the right fingertips. Trikonasana. Imagining we're between two panes of glass. Reaching up with the right fingertips. Gaze up towards the ceiling. Sucking the belly button in. Taking one more breath. As you exhale, gently unraveling, arms coming onto either side. Cartwheeling the hands around that left foot, bending into the front knee. So we can take the left foot back to meet the right. Dropping the knees to the ground, coming through our half chaturanga again. So really gripping into the ground with the fingertips. Taking the elbows onto the insides of the body, the outsides of the body. Dropping the chin, the chest to the ground at the same time. Before rippling the body weight forward. Pushing the tops of the feet into the ground so we can lift off with the chest, taking the gaze forward. And then using the hands to plant them into the ground, rocking through all fours. To come into a final child's pose. So taking the sit bones down onto the heels, crawling the fingertips forward, and maybe allowing the forehead to drop to the mat. Taking a few final breaths here. When you're ready to, moving back to a final seated position. Maybe it's cross-legged, maybe it's sitting back onto the heels. And saying a big well done to yourself for completing your 5-day yoga challenge. I hope to see you at class soon, or maybe on one of my retreats. Thank you so much for listening, for watching. See you all soon.